can you explain that people are doing so good on carnivore diet? Bull crap. Not doing so good on carnivore diet. It's a stimulant. And if anything, and they get rid of all the other crap, they'll feel a little better, but stimulated. And there will be a time they'll crash. There's no getting healthy eating dead animal meat. I don't care what these people are claiming. It's a stimulant. And yeah, if you use stimulants all the time, yeah, you can feel good doing that. Try an all-meat diet. But in the long run, you lose your GI tract and you lose your kidneys. Flat, factual.
All right, so if you eat meat, you're going to lose your GI tract. I would love to know where this individual got his training or his education. I don't know how eating meat will cause you to lose your kidneys or your GI tract. In fact, we have data, we have archaeological evidence to suggest that humans are omnivores. And this was a recently published study. It was published in Nature. The title of this, if you want the reference and so forth, is Isotopic Evidence of High Reliance on Plant Food Among Later Stone Age Hunter-Gatherers in the Tafarolat region of Morocco. Essentially looking at strontium and zinc in dental enamel, finding that humans are omnivores. We eat what's available ancestrally. Before the agricultural revolution, hunter-gatherer tribes all throughout the world, including Morocco, but also parts of Europe, parts of North Africa, parts of the Middle East, and so forth. Ancestral humans ate an omnivorous diet, a mix of both animal products, hunting big game animals. In this study, they were able to figure out with carbon isotope and strontium isotope imaging and analysis and so forth that there was a lot of sheep that were consumed by these hunter-gatherers outside of Morocco, as well as acorns, seasonally available foods. And that's really the consistent theme here. So if a doctor is saying that when eating red meat, first of all, we'll debunk a few things he said and then get back to the study. He said, your GI tract and your kidneys are going to wither away. I know a lot of people have been eating a carnivore style diet for the better part of 7 years. As far as I can tell, their GI tract is working because they are putting on muscle. They are functioning and at a very high level. And what's interesting and what's paradoxical about what this individual says, again, I don't know what kind of doctor he is. I hope he's a medical doctor and has sufficient training to make such egregious claims, but those claims are counter really modern evidence because there's a lot of micronutrients found in animal products that you're not getting from fruit. For example, carnitine, creatine, taurine, you're getting zinc, you're getting B12. I mean, you're getting vitamin A. You're not getting those things from fruit. And so if you're talking about organs withering away, you would think that you would have organ atrophy if you're eating a diet that's devoid of these conditionally essential micronutrients that I just mentioned. I think that's point number one. He said, point number two, he said, eating a carnivore style diet is stimulatory. I don't know what he means by that. So if you have a ribeye steak, it's akin to having 400 milligrams of coffee, for example. I mean, people feel good when they eat protein because, again, it has conditionally essential micronutrients, creatine, carnitine. There was a recently published study, I think this was in Italy. I'll put the reference here, published just last Friday of last week, finding that when individuals are sleep deprived and given a bolus dose of creatine, there was objective improvements in all sorts of cognitive parameters, memory recall, visual recall, word recall. And so and again, you're not getting creatine from mangoes. You're not getting creatine from bananas. You're getting this, as he said, the dead animals, right? You're getting creatine either as a supplemental source or from animal-based products. So I don't know how you can make the correlation that eating an omnivorous style diet is linked with stimulation. That makes absolutely no sense to me. So I think what we're seeing here is cognitive dissonance and cognitive biases. We recently learned last week that Dr. McDougall has passed at the age of 77. He was a promoter of rice and potatoes, a high starch diet. Towards the end of his life, I can cut to some clips here, he had obvious cognitive decline. He did an interview with a friend of mine who is a lifelong vegetarian, who does eat eggs and ghee butter and things like that, Dr. John Douillard out of Colorado. He's just outside of Boulder, Colorado. He interviewed him during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was a Zoom call, and you can see Dr. McDougall was just off the rails. And this was just several years ago. And so the idea that these people are promoting these very high starch diets, very high fruit diets, and not accepting the fact that there's a significant and growing subset of the population who is clearly benefiting from an animal-based diet. And who are these people? Mostly people with gastrointestinal issues, Crohn's, colitis, autoimmune irritable bowel syndrome, and any systemic autoimmune disease, whether it's psoriasis, rosacea, asthma, allergies, and even obesity and diabetes. People, maybe not long-term forever, but people do benefit from a carnivore style diet. And I've worked with these people. I've coached them. They've been clients of mine. I've seen their blood work objectively before and after making this dietary switch. And I'm not saying that everyone should go on a carnivore style diet, but the fact that Dr. McDougall, as well as this Dr. Morse, is saying that no one should ever consider this, and all individuals who eat animal-based diet will suffer from all of these different diseases. They're ignoring the large, now growing population of anecdotal reports of people getting off medications, whether it's blood pressure medications, diabetes medications, depression medications, curing their colitis or their Crohn's by omitting a lot of this high fiber, starchy food. And, you could argue that maybe long-term, eating just a pure animal-based diet may not be ideal. And over time, people should weave in seasonally available fruits and vegetables that agree with them, olives, avocados, maybe, tubers, berries, things like that, I think are easy to absorb and digest and aren't linked with a lot of gastrointestinal issues. But the fact that you have presumably a doctor saying that eating dead animals is stimulatory and it's going to cause your kidneys and your gastrointestinal tract to wither away. I've yet to see my gastrointestinal tract wither away since I started eating this way in 2017. And I will actually say, part of the reason, the impetus for me to dabble with carnivore is I was having a lot of gastrointestinal side effects from the high fiber diet I was having, eating a lot of salads, a lot of greens. I got a colonoscopy. I felt like I always had a brick in my stomach. And then once I transitioned to eating less fiber, less green leafy vegetables, all of the gastrointestinal side effects that I was getting as a consequence of eating the so-called healthy, high fiber, high diverse diet went away. And I'm one of tens of thousands of people who have benefited from this. So I'm not saying it's the right thing for every single person, but, making these egregious claims that your gastrointestinal tract and kidneys are just going to rot, we're not seeing that at scale. So I think it's important to understand that we have archaeological evidence to suggest, looking at dental enamel all throughout the world, hunter-gatherers, they were omnivores, my friends, before the agricultural revolution. So keep that in mind and be a little bit more cautious when watching some of these so-called pundits and their biases on the internet. We all have biases, but when someone says, for example, as Dr. McDougall said, he's treated tens of thousands of patients and never seen one of his patients not thrive on a vegan diet. I have seen many people not thrive on a vegan diet. Not to say that they can't slowly reintroduce vegetables and fruits and things later down the road after they help calm down the inflammation in their gut or get off some of the anti-nutrient foods that are causing or exacerbating gastrointestinal issues. But these biases run deep, and we start to see these crazy videos and these extreme ideas, and it causes people to have blind spots in their thinking and being very objective and realizing that some people might benefit or thrive based upon their activity level, their GI tract, their exposure to antibiotics as a child, whatever. There's a lot of folks that just can't digest this high amount of vegetables and grains that are being foisted upon us, and that these agricultural products are largely derived from monocrops, corn, soy, sorghum, canola oil. I mean, that's the bulk of what most people's calories come from, wheat, and these things are heavily sprayed with millions of pounds of insecticides, herbicides, and fungicides, as well as glyphosate, that are causing perturbations to the gastrointestinal tract itself, as well as the microbiome. So this is probably part of the reason why people do benefit when they just omit those foods and rely more on yogurt, eggs, raw milk, red meat, and eating seasonally available fruit when possible. So that's my 2 cents. I would love to know what you think in the comment section below. Did you enjoy this video? Do you want more breakdowns like this? Let me know in the comment section, and we'll catch you in a future one down the road.